Mobile gaming has had its fair share of failures throughout the years, and I'm sure you can list a whole bunch of different games that completely missed the mark. Battlefield Mobile, Payday Crime War, even Apex Mobile and New State Mobile to a certain extent did not play out as the developers had hoped. In fact, I want to start this video by asking you all, what do you think the biggest failures in mobile gaming were? Let me know down below in the comments. However, today, I want to talk about a game called Final Fantasy VII: The First Soldier, which I seriously think might be one of the biggest failures in mobile gaming history. We are here taking a look at the trailer to start, because this trailer looks really, really good. And for the vast majority of mobile gamers out there, when they saw this trailer drop, they had high hopes for this game. This game is set in the Final Fantasy universe, and it's got fantastic graphics, really cool looking gameplay. It's got probably all the monsters and different characters that you have in Final Fantasy. For me personally, I have no idea what these characters are because I've never played a Final Fantasy game before, but if you're into Final Fantasy, this probably looks very nostalgic, very exciting because it incorporates a lot of different elements from Final Fantasy into a battle royale experience. It looks like a next-gen game, plain and through. Like, it looks better than even a game like PUBG Mobile, at least on the surface. But it obviously was not, because this game got shut down like literally a year after release. They first dropped this trailer in November 2021. That's when they first announced this game. And then it got shut down, I think, in very early 2023. So like a little over a year after release, I think in January or February 2023. It's been gone for 2 years now. So even if it looks good, you can't play this game at all. And there's a whole host of different reasons why this game completely failed. We're going to talk about that in just a second, but before we do that, I do want to show you all the second trailer. This is the full trailer that was posted in 2021. The first one was just a teaser, and it says 30 years before Final Fantasy VII, Shinra began Project Zero as a means to develop something. I don't know. The text is going by too fast, but basically, it's getting us warmed up for this game, getting us excited. After 12 years, what happens? They fly over the sky in a helicopter. The first soldiers emerge from the fray. And there's a lot of very unique things in this game. I mean, things that I've never seen before in a battle royale game. I mean, you get to ride those thingies. I don't know what those are called. They almost look like ostriches. And there's a wide variety of different soldiers with many different weapons. This game has a heavy emphasis on melee combat. And it did have everything else that you would possibly want. Like, it had a lot of fantasy elements to it, considering it is a part of Final Fantasy, but it's got that magic. It's got, you know, actual regular weapons. You know, you had all the different guns that you could possibly want. You could snipe in this game. You could use other different types of things. And I don't believe this game was in first person at all. I think it was purely a third person game. But, again, looking at this trailer right here, it looks really, really good. Like, when I first saw this, I was blown away. I mean, seriously, with all the other Battle Royale games that we had in 2021, this looked like a really, really nice change from every other game that tried to be just this modern-day shooter. You had a few games set in the future or with fantasy elements, but, like, they just weren't that great, to be completely honest with you. This was different. This was set up to be such a cool freaking game. So yeah, I mean, you guys get the idea. There's a little bit more here of this trailer. I guess we should probably just wait for the next 15 seconds or so. You even had wall running in this game. I mean, honestly, the monsters are really cool. Even, you know, considering this game completely failed, I think the design of the monsters in this game, they did a very, very good job with this type of thing. They at least kind of honored Final Fantasy at least a little bit. So we're going to go take a look here at some gameplay that I found here on YouTube, and I want to talk about the reasons why this game completely failed. So this is what it kind of looked like when you actually played the game yourself. This is what it looked like for me. This is what it looked like for everybody else, and it did a pretty good job showing what it looked like in the trailer, but I do think these graphics are downgraded. I believe this is recorded on an Android tablet with pretty high up graphics. This might not be ultra graphics, but you know, the biggest reason why I think this game immediately had a bad first impression for me and so many other people is it just felt so weird when you were controlling the player. When you started to move left and right and look around, if you're paying close attention to how the character moves, it's not like other games. Like, it's not like PUBG Mobile or Farlight 84 or any of these other third-person battle royale games. It's very hard to explain, but like, it had a very different type of feel to it that you just weren't comfortable with for a very, very long time. You had to play this game for a long time before you got comfortable with it, and it just was really weird switching from games like PUBG, which has that standard third-person experience that you're very comfortable with, to something like this, which is completely different. Now, I have these things written down, but I think the biggest reason first, this game is a battle royale game, all right? And it's a fast-paced, competitive game that's completely out of place with the whole Final Fantasy genre. As it says here, Final Fantasy is known for deep storytelling, rich characters, and RPG mechanics. So the fact that they would have such a different spin-off like this, I don't know, man. It might have just not worked out, even if it did have good gameplay. It might have just been too different to be something that people would have wanted. You know, the Final Fantasy fans might have just not been the type of people that really liked a battle royale game, so it was pretty much destined for failure right from the very beginning. Now, I do have to say that this game did do a pretty good job implementing some of the other Final Fantasy elements to it. I'm not going to say that it completely failed, but for the diehard Final Fantasy fans, they're going to have a lot of complaints looking at something like this and saying like, dude, this is just, why would you even make something like this? It didn't really work out. And then another thing is this game was only a mobile exclusive game. For the people that played Final Fantasy, well, the vast majority of the games were PC games, maybe console, I don't really know, but for sure on PC, they might not be mobile gamers. They might not care about mobile games. They see a game like this announced, and even if it looks cool, they're like, well, I have my phone to make calls, to text people, to maybe scroll Instagram. Why would I play a game on my phone? I play Angry Birds or something like that. Those are the types of people that might play Final Fantasy games. They're not the die-hard mobile gamers that play games like PUBG Mobile, Warzone Mobile, Call of Duty Mobile every single day. I have to say, gameplay-wise, it does look really cool. And maybe this gameplay doesn't do the best job at showing how bad the game actually was. And inherently, it wasn't like that terrible gameplay-wise. There are a lot of other games that are successful that are a lot worse than this game. But it's just some of these other reasons were just bigger, I guess you could say, compared to just the gameplay. The other thing is this game was outsourced to a different development team. Square Enix, which developed Final Fantasy, outsourced development to a company called A-Team, which is a mobile game developer, but they have no experience in creating action games like this or even battle royale games. It's kind of like the same thing with Battlefield Mobile. They had Industrial Toys working on the game, and Industrial Toys just did not really have that much experience making a game like that, so it just wasn't going to be good, even just because of that experience. I don't really know. And then on top of that, during the beta testing phase, what I have written here is a lot of players reported big issues, including a lack of controller support. There wasn't a training mode, which is very important for a game like this. You need to have training, especially if the controls are very different. And then on top of that, the overall controls, as I said before, were just not very good as well. The UI was pretty good. I have to say, taking a look at some of these buttons right here, you can't really complain. It doesn't look absolutely terrible. And you did have things like HUD customization from what I can remember. You have to have things like that. And at least A-Team knew how to do that. But the overall feel of the game was just not there. And that's pretty much the biggest issue with this game. This game had 2 million pre-registrations, and the initial reviews were pretty good for people, but that player base quickly declined after launch. They had a lot of bots in matches, and it was very rare to actually find real players pretty quickly on. A lot of the big YouTubers that actually played this game originally kind of quit very early on. Like, they made several videos on the game, they were pretty active, and then they just very quickly quit and just did not care that much about the game anymore. They switched to other Battle Royale games, and that's another big issue that a lot of mobile games have. If you can't sustain interest in the game and you're not going to get the money from people buying stuff in the game, how the heck are you going to be able to continue developing the game, you know? Even if the game does have good gameplay, if you can't sustain those players, then you're set up for failure. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, there are so many games that were so good throughout the years, but since they did not retain a good player base, they just never could reach that full potential. It's really sad, and that's kind of what happened with this game. I feel like maybe if they just did a little bit better communicating to the players, understanding that the game might have not been perfect, but recognizing that they can fix the game to make it a lot better, then maybe the players would have stuck around a little bit more, and maybe they could have improved the overall controls feeling. They could have maybe implemented Final Fantasy elements better and made this game a very successful game. Because I have no doubt something like this can be very successful in the mobile gaming space, because it's so different from so many other games that we're used to. It's just, yeah, they didn't really communicate. They didn't really implement the features well. They didn't do a good job keeping the players entertained. And because of that, it was pretty much a lost cause. So, yes, as I've written right here, it says that they terminated this game on January 11th, 2023, less than a year after launch, which I guess that means I might have gotten things wrong. The beta test probably started in November of 2021, so the overall launch of the game was sometime in 2022. This game literally lasted less than a year, which is just crazy. They did not understand the audience expectations. They did not choose the right partners developing the game. And the fact that they only had this game for mobile devices meant that, yeah, it just didn't really work out well. And it's really, really sad. Overall gameplay here, though, it looks good, and that's the biggest thing. Something like this can do well on mobile devices, and to other developers that might be watching this video who are scared to even release something like this, you can do well. You can release a game like this. You can have it very, very successful if you just communicate with the players very well. You need to be very transparent if you're making a very different type of game from what people are used to. Otherwise, you are not going to do well. Look at this. I mean, something like this is so cool. The fact that you have like monsters that you need to battle alongside regular battle royale experiences. Even when the monster gets shot down, it kind of has its last little breath of movement and then it collapses. They didn't really cheap out on a lot of the things. It's just they missed the core stuff. They missed the core things that made the game enjoyable. You can have the game look super good, but if the overall gameplay experience is not good, that's the most important thing. You can't forget those types of things. So there's a lot of games out there right now that are coming out or already have released that have great graphics, but I'm sure you can list quite a few of them that just don't have good gameplay. Graphics are not everything. Look at this, dude. It's a pretty big battle royale as well. Like, this is a big, big game. You know, this is not some tiny little Rebirth Island type of thing. You had a lot of interesting things here. I mean, like, look at this. No fall damage. I don't really know how that would work in the Final Fantasy universe, but maybe that's something that you would have in Final Fantasy. Who really knows? I like this guy, though. Whatever this character is called that he's controlling. Very cool. No idea what it is. I never got this one because I never really played that much of the game. I started playing it, and I was like, I'm just going to wait until they make it better. And then they never did, unfortunately. Yeah, there it is. There's that little ostrich thing. Who knows what that thing is called, but there you go. Fenrir was defeated, and then I believe he gets one more kill. Right around right here. Let's go see what happens. Potentially one more kill. He might have even gotten two. Yeah, there they go. There's the last people. It even had the footsteps. It had all of the things there. But again, as I said, it's just the overall gameplay experience, just how it felt when you played it on your phone. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. I liked how this game had a very big verticality to it as well. That's one thing that it had going for it, which was very cool. You could blast yourself up into the sky and be very, very differing in your elevation. It was not just a standard boots on the ground game like so many others. He should get the win right here. But do you see that? Like, it's weird. It's really weird. Very unusual. I don't know, this movement. It's cool. It's got that melee combat, the stuff that you would see in RPG games, but it's just, for a battle royale game, I don't know, dude. Let's go see here. He gets the final kill, right? What even is going on? It's like, I don't know. This is one of those games that you just spam all of your buttons all the time and hope that you get the kill. That's what I remember. You just spam all of your buttons, and then eventually you somehow kill the person. So that's also why whenever I would go up against somebody that was better than me, there you go. There's the victory. I I was like, what the heck is even going on? I have no idea. Yeah, there you go. That's basically Final Fantasy VII The First Soldier. Kind of wrote down some of the reasons why this game completely failed. Hopefully it was communicated to you guys very well. And let me know what you guys thought about this game, if you ever happen to play it yourself. I think this game could potentially come back in a different way, and it could actually be successful. Obviously, they are not going to release this game again. There's no way. It failed so much originally that there's just no hope that it's ever going to come back. I think Final Fantasy and Battle Royale is never going to be a thing ever again, but if they ever did want to, they probably could, as long as they just completely change how the development ends up being, and they are very communicative with the players. So yeah, that's basically it. Hope you all did enjoy this video. If you did, please take a second and leave a like and subscribe for some mobile gaming content just like this, and I will see you all in the next episode.